New on Curiosity Stream.
From time to time, we have collisions between asteroids and the Earth.
We track them, we study them, we hope the big one never comes. Don't look up, it's Asteroid Rush. And alligators. They rarely get sick. They even outlasted the dinosaurs. Could they hold the secret to human longevity?
Their blood could have antibacterial applications.
Wade into the investigation on immortal alligators. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
And away we go. Welcome to season 17, episode number 3634. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. And you are the Men's Room. On tap today, the return of Who Sucks Less. We will play Profile This. Plus headlines, Men's Room Shot of the Day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite TV Time with Ted. All right, here we go. Florida man attacks a woman with a machete at, wait for it, a Waffle House. Meanwhile, a man walks up to a woman at a subway station and covers her head and blouse. And you do not want to know with what. A side effect of COVID, apparently, is that roller skating at rinks is back. Teens in North Carolina find human remains after a baseball they did smack. And 2 kids are charged with battery after a silly string attack in Florida. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, according to those sexy bitches of the Oxford Dictionary, the word luck is defined as, quote, success or failure apparently brought by chance rather than one's own actions. Now, we have a few examples of both the good and the bad lucks, as it were. Let's start with the good. A man in Long Island, New York, he won $10 million on a lottery scratch-off. Definitely good luck. What makes his luck even better is that this same guy also won $10 million on a lottery scratch-off 3 years ago. And as he pointed out, he hasn't finished spending his first $10 million. Then there's bad luck. A man in Alaska, he's walking along the shoreline with his girlfriend when the ice that he was walking on broke free and drifted into the sea, taking him, not her, but just taking him along with it. Should be pointed out, this chunk of ice is only about 5 feet around, and half of his body was submerged in water, the other half clinging for life. He had to cling to it for about, an hour before being rescued. More good luck. Guy in New Jersey goes to a restaurant, orders clams, finds a pearl worth up to $100,000 inside of one of the clams. And then finally, we'll leave you with a fine example of bad luck. A man in San Diego, he's driving while also stirring a protein shake with a knife. He crashed into a parked car. The crash deployed the airbag. The airbag hit the hand that was holding the knife, and then the knife plunged into his neck and killed him.
He won't call today.
No, I'm telling you, that is a prime example of bad luck. But today we're talking about luck, both the good, the bad, the ugly. Today we want to know what has been the luckiest or the unluckiest moment of your life.
Be part of the big show. Call 206-421-ROCK. You can like The Men's Room on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live, and send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
You're listening to The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill, 99.9. KISW.
All the patrols, away we go. Welcome to season 17, episode number 3634. What a large and a charged program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat. The exciting return of Who Sucks Less. Steve, you bring us 3 stories from the news each and every week. I don't know where you found these negative stories. but somehow
It's hard to do.
You get 3 of them, and you bring them to us. We have to determine out of the 3 stories which one sucks the least. How brutal are we dealing with today as far as people doing stupid things?
Well, it depends what you're asking. How brutal is it? Not brutal. How stupid is it? Remarkably stupid. But I do think that of the 3, they're all very different stories. I think this is a hard one.
Okay.
I think.
All right. Who sucks less coming up? Also, don't forget more Men's Room every Monday through Friday here exclusively on the Odyssey app as we head on over to the Odyssey app for the Men's Room Happy Hour. Episode number 126. Today we'll just say this. We have a very special guest. And he's coming to town to do not 1 but 2 different shows this year.
That's correct.
So maybe check out the Men's Room Happy Hour today if you want to hear some of that interview. So if you don't have the Odyssey app, by the way, download it. It's absolutely free. All you need to do is search for the Men's Room Happy Hour channel. That goes live at 6 o'clock Monday through Friday. If you're check it out now. It's basically just dead air. So there will be nothing there until we go live at 6 o'clock tonight. So please, if you haven't done so yet, check out the Men's Room Happy Hour. And our question, what has been the luckiest or unluckiest moment of your life? We'll start with this guy, Michael Spressler. He thought he'd cracked a molar after biting into a raw clam at his favorite South Jersey restaurant. Ted, this is only the second time I've heard of the raw clam. First time was from you.
With me and Burris.
And you said you hated it.
Don't eat raw clams.
I have no desire to.
That come out of a shell.
But then, when I poked it out into the palm of my hand, it was a perfectly round white pearl. Now, the pearl might just cover the cost of his meal at the Lobster House in Cape May and then some. At 8.83 millimeters, it could be worth as much as $100,000, though it is yet to be appraised. Spressler, who is 58, considered it his lucky day, as the chance of finding a pearl in a clam is reportedly 1 in 10,000.
Those are better odds than I would have thought.
That's exactly what I thought. I've been eating clams all my life. This is the first time this has ever happened to me, and it happened to be a special occasion. Spressler and his wife, Maria, say their dinner last month marked their 34th anniversary of their first visit to the restaurant in 1987.
Damn.
Yeah,
okay.
wow. Yeah, he said he always orders a dozen clams on the half shell as his appetizer. He's eaten dozens and dozens and dozens of clams. We've never found anything like that. So it was pretty exciting. One of the gimmicks that they often have on the Jersey boardwalk in the Northeast, sometimes you'll see them in Delaware and Maryland, is they will have an opportunity for you to buy a clam. And the clam is typically $2 to $3. Have you ever seen these buckets up there where what do I do after I buy the clam?
It's a chance to win the pearl.
It's a chance to win a pearl.
So they have placed a pearl in one of the clams.
They put it. There's
right.
an aquarium of water. You put your money in. They got a bunch of clams in there, and then they shuck that clam open, and you see if you want a pearl or not. Do you remember that?
I don't. I think I was always throwing darts at balloons.
Yeah, that was more my speed. I don't remember this.
But I always thought it was just the craziest thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
that does sound kind of wild.
If it's 1 in 10,000, I mean, your odds aren't horrible.
Right. It's better than the lottery.
Exactly.
Right?
So why the hell not? But that's got to be a crazy night out, man. When your food has something that valuable in it. There's no other food where for some reason, the value of what's inside is that great. Not $100,000. I know I'm trying
to think of anything. I mean, unless somebody dropped their wedding ring into your taco. But you're right. As a food source, you have a 1 in 10,000 chance of making money off of the food you ordered.
To me, that's insane.
But not all pearls are worth that much money.
No, they're not. It depends on the size, et cetera, et cetera. But Miles is right. Like, I can't think of another food that you can order. And there's the possibility that when you dig into this, there's some valuable commodity inside.
I still can't believe anybody's eating them raw.
In fact, that he gets, a dozen at a time?
And
Burris loved them. And also, that was a big close a few times. So I was like, I'm going to vomit on this bar.
What was it? Was it the texture of it?
Both.
Okay, and then the taste.
Smelled funny, tasted funny, texture was odd.
Okay.
I mean, literally.
Typically with an oyster, they'll give you like a wine vinaigrette, or they'll have some horseradish cocktail
or whatever.
Sauce. Yeah, whatever it's called. They give you something to put on there. So that was not.
We had oysters too, so I'm sure there was a mignette around there. But I was just like, are you sure? And he's like, just try one, man. And he's like eating them like oysters.
All right.
Like, I love it. And I was like, all right. And it's just like, I don't know how to, it's rare to see that look on an adult, but you see it on children a lot. Just that like, oh God, I'm just going to keep chewing and swallow.
I don't think you should chew.
Yeah, I feel like that's just swallow that bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, somebody points out another food that you can purchase with the possibility of finding something quote unquote valuable. Cracker Jacks.
Oh, I mean...
Hey, they threw it out there.
You can say that for any kid's cereal that's got a toy in it.
But it was Thrill's first tattoo.
You know what it was? Actually, Cracker Jacks did provide me my first tattoo. I believe it was an anchor, actually.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I was quite excited.
Man, you've been a Kraken fan forever.
You're damn right.
Yes.
Before they were cool.
The driver of a mail truck in Massachusetts survived a plunge off a bridge uninjured, an outcome that may seem unlikely to anyone who witnessed the incident. Shocking video shared by the State Police Association of Massachusetts.
Why me?
Shows the crash in Weston, about 15 miles from Boston. Police say the truck fell around 50 feet after it came off the bridge over the Charles River, near the ramp from the I-95 interstate. Rescuers found the driver, who does not know how to swim. He does not know how to swim. Standing on top of the partially submerged truck, he was taken to a hospital for evaluation, but no injuries were reported. The video of this 18-wheeler.
It's unreal.
Going off this bridge, because you got to remember, it's going 55, 60 miles an hour. And it goes straight over, cabin first.
And it never slows down, by the way. It's not even like you slammed the brakes.
I mean, they said we were able to make an effective rescue. Our 2 members went in with suits, and we got them, and took maybe 4 minutes or so upon arrival. It's not clear whether the driver is a U.S. Postal Service employee or a contract worker. The crash, by the way, it spilled hundreds of packages into the river, though firefighters managed to retrieve as many of them as they could. While they had the boat in the water, they were scooping up as much mail and as many packages. We got most of it out of the water. Some of it probably sunk, but they got a lot of mail out of the water. If I know how to scuba dive, man.
But is it a mail truck, or was it like, if it's an Amazon truck, I'm definitely going in the water to see what's in there, right? Mail, I feel like, it's going to get bills.
Just the fact that guy could walk out of that.
Yeah.
And the fact that he does not know how to swim and was still able to get out of the cab somehow and then get on top of the truck. Because you'd think you'd have to, I don't know, maybe
swim at some point.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But I mean, the only silver lining to this is that you did not die. Like, there was no good luck in any of this. Like, you took a truck off of a goddamn bridge into, I mean, you're lucky it was a river below you and not cement, right?
Sure.
You're lucky you didn't drown, but also, you're in a truck that fell off of a bridge, man.
This is not good. So our question, what has been the luckiest or the unluckiest moment of your life? 206-421-ROCK.
I got a couple of different texts here. It says, I won the final year of the Bigger Dance contest on KJR. Won 2 tickets to any sporting event in the world. Wife and I went to the Italian Grand Prix. Everything paid for.
Oh, man.
That is a hell of a deal. I can promise you this. You'll never get a deal like that on this station. Oh, no. There is zero chance.
They did that thing for years. That was a massive...
Well, we do have a chance.
That's the thing they're going to give you, dude. Like that's a hell of a prize.
Well, we do have a chance for you to win tickets coming up to see Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison, and Joan Jett at the Blackhearts.
And we apologize for Poison.
Right. 420. We'll give you the secret word, the code word, and you go to KISW.com, get on the contest page, and put that bad boy in. 420 coming up today. Your code word chance to win.
And then someone else says, a couple of months ago, I was in a line of cars to pick up my child from school, and I pooped myself. I had to sit in for 30 minutes waiting for him to come out. He's never asked for a ride again.
So I guess he can smell it.
He probably opened that. Dude, you poop yourself and just sit in the car. Like whoever opens that door first.
Oh.
God damn. That's just,
that is a hot summer day.
For 30 minutes, man. Hello, John. Welcome to the men's room.
Liquor and whores.
Liquor and whores.
So I went to the casino with $100, and I buy in at a blackjack table. I just can't lose. I'm winning every hand. I cash out with 2 $500 chips. I was like, what the heck? I only bought in for $100. Put the $500 chip down. I get a 10, and the dealer's showing a 5. I double down, so I have $1,000 on the hand now. I get a 10, so I have 20. Dealer flips over another 5. So they have 10. I'm like, the worst that could happen is a face, and I push. The dealer flipped an ace for 21.
Oh.
That's how the game goes, man. It's got to be in there somewhere.
$1,000.
Wow. I cannot believe you put the other chip down.
I can't either. That's what I would say. I just let I'm walking out of here with 500. Whatever I do.
Worst case, whatever $500, man.
I wouldn't even put the 500 chip down. I'd have put down like maybe $100 chip, you know what I mean? A few of those and give myself a $500 limit.
I don't know. I'm not a big gambler in the first place, so if I win a substantial amount of money, like, I am done. Right? Like, if I got $1,000, like, I'm done. Even if I got the hot thing going, like, I'm keeping this.
Yep. Yeah, like when I shoot craps, right? Like if I'm winning, I try to get back the initial money I put in.
Of course.
And then kind of sit that to the side and then gamble with the other stuff. But also,
just so you never go under, right?
Right. That's the theory.
The theory.
But also, I don't know, if you like gambling and stuff and you're on a heater, it's kind of like being out having some cocktails. Like, I should go home, but you know what? Screw it. Like, my buddy's over at that other bar. I'll go get a shot of beer with him, too.
You're 100%. If you like gambling, I completely get it. Because your analogy nails it. Like, I know I've had too much to drink, but I'm in a great state of mind. I'm going to keep drinking, and I've overspent my money. I feel like crap the next day. My wife's probably mad at me. I can't find my keys. But somehow, you're like, it was worth it.
Well, Ted, you've always said the craps is your best chance of winning. They just did a scientific study. Did you read this?
I did not.
They basically said exactly that. Your best
odds.
Your best odds of winning. I mean, without nothing even comes close.
All right, see, because
on the craps table.
It's after live day. I was in the bar having drinks with people. I was talking about shooting craps, and I always say that statement: it's your best odds at the casino, which I learned in Vegas. So it's like, actually, it's this game, and blah blah blah. I mean, not a big deal. We were going back and forth. Like, are you sure?
How exactly does craps? So when I was in Vegas for the Ravens game, my buddy who went down there with me, he loves craps, all right? And the table is packed. But as I'm watching, like, he's not rolling dice. So
correct. There's only one shooter.
And he just keeps putting, like, numbers. And he's kind of explaining it, but he's trying to pay attention to the game, right? So I'm not gleaning everything. He did well, as I recall it. But I'm like, what? I didn't quite understand.
Like, what just happened there?
Well, like,
yeah, I'll see everyone like cheer and they're like fist bumping. And
so
I'm like,
everybody doesn't need. You don't have to shoot, right?
Right.
Because it's a huge long pit and everything.
Right.
But basically, once somebody craps out with a 7 or 11, then you bet on this pass line. Now somebody rolls. Let's just say it's not a 7 or 11 because that pays first. But after that one, once you set a mark, now you're betting on what other else you think the shooter's going to shoot. So like I'll always bet the 6 and 8. But if the mark is like an 8, everybody's going to back that bet up. So when they hit that, you hear the whole table go crazy.
Many times.
That's because everybody
won.
Everybody at that table has made money at that point.
Okay, all right.
Right. But you could sit there like our buddy, little trooper. I mean, he made almost 3 G's off me one night in Baton Rouge because I just got on a hot hand. And I mean, I rolled like 40 sometimes in a row before I crapped out.
And he made $3,000?
Yeah, because he was betting much bigger than I was. I made like $250.
He has a lot more money.
Right, he has a bankroll to pay for it.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, he won big because he can spend money.
That's the other great thing I love about craps, though, too. Like, blackjack, people get all pissy. Like, you took my card. Like, when you're shooting dice, everybody's on the same team.
I've not seen that much camaraderie at any gambling table in my life. I mean, and it was like all walks of life are there. And the dude who's throwing, I can at least tell that he's having a hot hand.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there was this family from South Carolina, all right? And they were tough, to put it mildly, right? Because the woman there, she kept yelling at her son. It was a grown-ass man. But I cannot say exactly what she said. But, just shut up, boy, and put your goddamn money on blah, 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 right? So he started listening to Mama, as it were. The dude who's throwing it looks like he's from Northern Virginia, right? He's got his collars packed up and all this thing. He's got the perfect little haircut. But whatever he's doing when he's throwing dice, he's crushing it. This family was so freaking excited. And it was just weird watching them interact with this guy. Because I'm like, if you were not playing this game, there's no chance you guys are communicating at all. But Mama's up there hugging them like, I like you. You know.
Oh, yeah.
I like you very much as well, man.
Yeah, basically.
What has been the luckiest or unluckiest moment of your life? 206-421-ROUND.
I just play because of the odds.
Hello, Tyson. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola!
Hola!
How are you guys doing today?
Doing great, man. Thank you, brother.
That's good to hear. Well, a friend of mine and myself, when we were in high school, we're driving back 2 separate cars, if you will, out to Washington High School down in Parkland. We pull up to an intersection, and he decides to cut through the gas station and go one way to beat me to the school, and I'm waiting at the stoplight, hence why he cut through. And last minute decision is right when the light turned green. Instead of going straight, I took a right to follow him, and a lady, I don't remember what kind of car she had, blew through the red light, smashed into my front quarter panel on the driver's side, spun me 360 degrees into a telephone pole and caved in the right side of my car. But then her car proceeded to spin uncontrollably into my buddy's car, who saw the accident happen and was just waiting. she flew into his car, totaled his car. After the reports and investigation and everything, one of the police officers told me, if you would have went straight, she would have caved in your driver's side door and probably would have paralyzed or killed.
So did you walk away from that thinking you were lucky? I mean, in that sense,
you lost your car, your buddy lost your car. I mean, is that lucky or is that unlucky? Where are we?
It's one of those lucky that I didn't die, unlucky that we got our cars trashed.
So, like, unlucky, but it could have been worse.
Okay, let me ask you this. Did you upgrade on your car?
Oh, yeah.
See, that's the one thing with insurance companies and auto insurance, man. It seems like you are able to upgrade. I don't know why that. It might just be a smaller payment on your car payment every month or whatever the deal is, but they give you a fat check, and it always just seems like every time I've gotten into a wreck, I'm like, this is a really nice car I got now, man.
It's
like,
never lateral.
Because I never would just go and buy a car on my own. You know what I mean? But if I have to.
You've been driving a 1987 Toyota Tercel, right? You get in an accident. Next time you see this guy, it's like, when did you get a BMW?
I got a wreck, man.
Oh, dude,
total
greatest thing happened. I hit a telephone pole. Oh.
What has been the luckiest or unluckiest moment of your life? 206-421-ROCK.
99.9 KISW. The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
An Alaska man was walking along the shoreline near Anchor Point on Saturday morning with his girlfriend. The ice that he was walking on suddenly broke free and drifted into Cook Inlet, taking him along with it. Amazingly, Jamie Snedden clung on to ice for nearly an hour, and he was rescued and is expected to make a full recovery. Though the 45-year-old was treated for hypothermia, he was 300 yards offshore and submerged with only his head and arms above water, clinging to a 5-foot square chunk of ice. When rescuers found him, according to the Anchorage Daily News, the water was 38 degrees Fahrenheit with the air temperature at 30 degrees.
So are you happier to be in the water? You know what I mean? Like, it's colder in the air temperature. It's still not warm, but I mean...
A trooper rode out there with an inflatable raft while a fishing boat that was 3 miles away and heard the call for help also headed over. They arrived about the same time to rescue Snedden. Coast Guard had also been alerted but wasn't nearby. I need someone with a boat to come to Anchor Point Beach now, please. My boyfriend is stuck on an iceberg and is going out with the tide. Snedden's girlfriend posted in a local Facebook group as she tried to get help. I called 911. They are taking forever to get here. One thing about that inlet that's pretty interesting, because we were up in Anchorage, and I do remember walking on the waterfront there.
I don't.
And the way that the tides come in and out, basically what you have are these huge mud flats. Mm-hmm. So there have been stories where you're not supposed to walk out there on low tide because you'll sink into the mud immediately.
Right. You get stuck.
You'll get stuck.
And then the tide comes in.
Then the tide comes in, right. So these signs are everywhere.
So Ted Danson was killed in Creep Show.
Don't think you can just walk out into these mud flats, you know, because you cannot. It's the most dangerous thing you can do. Our question, what has been the luckiest or unluckiest moment of your life? 206-421-ROCK.
Here's one we can all appreciate. It is one brief story, and it's about being lucky and unlucky all for the same occasion. It says, luckiest, I won 6 tickets to the Blue Jays World Series from Dairy Queen. Unlucky, I got the tickets a week after the series.
Oh!
So they didn't mail them to you in time?
You didn't get them. You won 6 tickets to go to the World Series, and by the time you got them, the series is over.
Yeah, you got to kind of plan for flying out, getting a hotel room, all those little things.
That seems crazy.
Yeah, right. Like Dairy Queen's running the contest. Like, hey, you won. That's awesome. We'll get you the tickets.
Even if they got it to you 2 days ahead of time. The chance of you being able to find a hotel
6 individual tickets to a World Series.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, how could you get? You'd have to be traveling between cities.
Oh, no. Right. You had 6 tickets to a World Series game.
All right.
Did not work out. Hello, Gary. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hey, hola.
Hola.
So, I was lucky and unlucky at the same time. So, 2011, me and some buddies go down to the sand dunes in Oregon. I'm trying to, keep up with them because I'm kind of an older guy. But go up this dune and third gear flat out on 2 wheels, get to the top, and there's no sand on the other side. About 70-foot drop, which I come shooting off of because you can't turn when you're on 2 wheels. Crash, break my neck, my back, and 5 ribs, and then have to take a ambulance ride to the hospital. and then or into town, and then from there I got on an airplane, which ended up as an ambulance ride once again. And then once I got to the hospital tried to kill me too.
How did the hospital try to? Doctors are known for that. I don't like this guy. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They were feeding me pain meds orally and pumping my stomach. They didn't give me any fluids for the first 3 days, and so I was hallucinating. And it wasn't until my son's girlfriend came in and asked them why they weren't giving me fluids. She worked at a nursing home. And then they overfed me zinc, shut down my liver and kidneys.
Jesus.
And if it wasn't for my son, after 7 days, I came out of intensive care and hopped into a minivan and drove from Oregon to Seattle.
And did you go to? Did your son take you to a hospital here?
No, I went to like one of those rehab centers for the elderly people.
Okay,
that's the only thing he could find. And within 1 day, they got me back on fluids and I was not hallucinating or anything anymore.
But isn't that the whole reason for that Coos Bay Hospital? I mean, it's just probably based on the dunes.
Well, I went to there, and then they flew me to Legacy Emmanuel in downtown Portland. That's the one that tried to kill me.
I can't believe that. You would think that they would know to not give you any fluids for. I mean, even me as one thing I know about going to the doctor, or especially if you go to the hospital and something is wrong, it always seems like they give you fluids. I mean, no matter what,
no matter how you feel, like
sometimes I just pop in for an IV.
Right. I mean, well, depending on how
hungover again,
can I get a banana bag? Right.
So how long ago did this happen?
That was in 2011.
2011. So now it's 11 years later, or 10 and a half, whatever, and you broke your neck, your ribs, all this stuff. Like, what still hurts on your body from that?
Well, I have 8 bolts and 2 titanium rods in my back. And so no chair is comfortable because I got this 2 titanium rods in my back underneath all my muscles. And, man, that's pretty much it.
Do they respond to temperature change? So, like, when it's cold, do you know the cold is coming?
Yes, actually, it gets so cold. Like if I'm just at work, because I work outside doing construction. So if I'm outside and my back gets cold, I can barely pick up my legs.
You would think that they would have some kind of wooden signs up at the top of these, like danger.
But it's
stop.
A dune.
I guess it shifts all the time.
Right. So there's nothing permanent about it.
Exactly.
Maybe there was a sign, but
the whole point of the dune, I guess.
No, Mike, is that the same place, the Oregon Sand Dunes?
Well, yes, it is.
All right, because you had a very similar situation. What was it? Your mom waved you off?
Exactly. So this dune that I was going up, this thing had to be 50 feet high, but it was kind of a 2-tier deal. It came up and then it flattened out for half a second, then it went up the second one. They're really, really fun to ride up and down, and usually they come up to a decent peak and then they'll come back down the other side, or they'll keep going down the way, whatever it was. I got up to that first tier, and then there was something that told me to go look over at my mother. I look over, and she's giving me the double arm wave, giving me one of those, and so I slowed down as I go to the top of this thing, and the sheer drop on the other side. I was coming up, then all of a sudden I saw treetops about 20 feet below me.
Oh.
And I slammed on all my brakes, and I pushed sand off the edge of this cliff that had to be 35 feet down.
How long does it take you to kind of, because obviously in that
Are you done for the day after that?
Oh, yeah, I turned around and left.
I would be. That's it.
It was kind of a phantom hill because the wind is blowing so hard out there. That's how these dunes change. The wind is blowing everywhere. But this was a lot more solid ground on the top of this dune, and so when the wind was blowing, it was actually blasting sand off the edge of this thing.
So it looks like you have more to go.
It looked like a little bridge going on out there, right? And so I thought I had a little bit more room to go. I was already going to slow, they actually do tell you have to go through training classes before you're basically to ride out there. They actually have a safety course that you have to do in order to actually, it's not like there's people checking you out the door, but if they do have some patrols that run around from time to time, and if you don't have your license, you can get into some serious trouble. But that's one thing that they tell you is to slow down as you're getting to the top of these dunes, because you may know the area, quote unquote, but these areas change all the time.
That's the thing with the dunes, right?
And if I had not looked over at my mom, I'm not positive I would have been here.
Right, because you had trees below you.
Yeah.
Which, can break your fall or break your face.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to know.
Well, but if you get thrown and, the dune buggy lands on you, the four-wheeler, whatever you're on, that's where...
That's it right there.
That's how Ozzy ended up breaking all those ribs and being in the hospital.
He was on a three-wheeler.
2 or 3...
that's how the guy from Dave Matthews Band died.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yep.
What did he...
he was on a four-wheeler. I believe in Virginia or someplace. if I'm not mistaken. But either way,
I'm not trying to be this guy. I know that Kennedy has been shot. I know we landed on the moon. When did this guy from the Dave Matthews Band die?
Probably over a decade ago.
Yeah.
He was the
For real?
He was the saxophone.
Oh, yeah.
player. So remember the saxophone player who would just kind of stand there and jam?
Yeah.
That was that guy.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I know it's been 10 years for everyone else. I'm just finding out now.
Yeah, I mean, that's like me with the snowmobiling. Like, I mean, like, every time Mike tells that story, I could feel the pit in my stomach. That one, from the time I flipped it, but also, like, the back of it just goes off a little thing. And so, like, thank God I remembered to gun it, because that's their whole thing. There's no brakes on. Just gun it if you're in trouble. But, I mean, as I'm telling the story, I'm like,
How big was the cliff that you almost went off?
No idea, because you couldn't see the bottom.
Oh, Jesus. Man. All right, that's too good. By the way, someone checked in to say, oh, my God, I was at the Oregon Sand Dunes when this guy wrecked off the Razorback. They confirm it was nuts.
I bet it was.
Yeah.
Jesus.
How do people get into that? Like, how did your
honestly, our family friend was big into dirt bikes and big into riding, and he had been down to those dunes before.
Right.
So really, you just kind of get into dirt biking and you get into these riding communities and you start talking about it, and then somebody will mention to go down to the dunes. But
I mean, sounds awesome, but then as you hear these stories, like the reality of the actual dangers of it, like, maybe it's not for me.
Right, and one thing that usually comes with telling people that, you know, you should head down there, but also be very careful, it's dangerous. There's people that die every single year down there.
It's almost like you learn about this like at a white person convention. What sport can we do? Come on, man, I need some petrol. What can we race?
But I know. You're right. I mean, look, I asked. I said, how do you even get into that sport? But on the same token, like growing up where we did, we don't give two thoughts about swimming in an ocean with riptides and sharks.
People die every year.
People die every year in Ocean City because of riptides.
Dude, when I was growing up in Rochester, and this is sad, but it's true, man. So we lived in upstate New York. That was most of my elementary school days. It gets real cold there. Everyone has a pond somewhere within 200 yards of their house. And then there's Lake Ontario and Arundecoit Bay right there. Kind of surrounds you everywhere. But it gets so cold, just like you see in Minnesota and stuff. People are snowmobiles, trucks, you name it. Everyone goes out on the ice and does things. You know, people play hockey on the ice, whatever. Every single year in school at some point during the winter, the PA pops on and it's the principal talking to all classes at the same time to say, we have some sad news to report. And before they even said the name of the kid, you knew how they died. They went through the ice, they didn't come back up, and it was just a different kid every year. I mean, see, and it's weird, but you get so used to it that it's almost like not tragic anymore.
We used to have three-wheeler and four-wheeler accidents.
Yeah, it's three-wheelers.
Three-wheelers are the popular ones. Now they people come in to do tourist stuff because the trails are, 50, 60 miles long. So they'll do like these camping excursions on four-wheelers and just tear through and stay at camps, on the river or something, then travel, 20 miles the next day, burning through the mountains, and they do a big loop and come back in.
I think the problem is it's not that four-wheeling itself is dangerous, it's how people choose to four-wheel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't really know what you're doing.
Those trails are well marked based on.
Gun this thing, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't try to take these turns. But it's, even in downtown Seattle, when downtown still had people in it, all those Segway tours would go by. And one out of every three of those Segway tours, man, you'd see someone eat it. I mean, this is just two wheels, you stand up, and it was never just someone falling over. Like, they tried to do something. I've seen a teen eat it, and I saw a woman eat it. And both of them were going against the instructions given. You know what I mean? Like, don't try to spin around in a tight little circle. But as they're giving the tour, they'd stop everyone, and they start talking about whatever. And then the person who loses interest in what they're talking about starts doing whatever it was you're told not to do, and you would just watch them eat it.
I've seen one
fall out in the street. And it's funny every time.
I've seen one Razor scooter crash downtown. Right over the handlebars. I'm thinking to myself, oh my God.
Right.
It's like a nasty spill. But the guy popped right back up, and he's had a backpack on. I was like, dude, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, man, I'm good.
That's good. I'm
like
embarrassed.
The ones you can rent?
Yeah, got back on.
Because the Razor ones are like the tan look.
Yeah, right.
But even the ones you can rent, like, I'll leave names out of it, but I have a buddy, he's a super athletic dude. So I see him like a couple days after the weekend, I go, what happened to the palm of your hand? He's like, after I left you, had a couple more beers, decided to take a scooter.
Yeah. Well,
fell.
Back to, hey man, just put it all in the house. You only think that's a good idea when you're intoxicated. No one sober goes, because you can walk.
Yeah.
No one sober goes, hey man, you know what I mean? Let's take one of these out. It's always somebody I know who's drunk, like, hey man, you know what we should do?
My kids each have one, and what they don't realize, we bought them because we wanted to ride them. But if you say they're for the kids, right?
Yeah.
No one judges you. I ride them much more than the kids do. Not to zip up and down the driveway, but every once in a while I'll go with the kids and we'll go around the block, all right? So you can quote unquote gun it. They got to like 16 miles. Well, theirs go a little faster because they're lighter, right? But I got up to 16 miles an hour once. And there's one part of the sidewalk where the cement is kind of chipped or whatever. And I'm like, I can take this. Turns out I can't. Because I thought I could just like lift the front wheel over, right? Well, the way those scooters are, they're very front heavy because that's where your actual motor is.
So by lifting up,
I'm not thinking, oh, dude. I mean, I hit this thing, went over. My son's like, oh my God, are you all right? But same thing. I wasn't, but I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, man. You know, just don't gun it and do that.
Shake it off.
Oh, I thought I had it.
What has been the luckiest or unluckiest moment of your life? 206-421-ROCK.
It's just, my buddy couldn't hide it because you could just see exactly where he fell off and put his palms down. I was like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's never a good look. Hello, Hop Sing. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, mi putas.
Hola.
So I'm in Reno every year for my birthday.
Wow.
My girlfriend.
Treat yourself.
Why is that? Why Reno?
Because it's the Fitzgerald's, which is closed, and my birthday's on St. Patrick's Day, so they always give me a really good deal.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So we're playing craps, and we're, I'm doing okay. She's doing okay. And this guy comes up that I played with the night before, and he has this weird way of throwing the dice where he snaps his fingers, and half the time the dice jump off the table. So I take my girlfriend and I put it on my left, and I want to keep my right hand open. And so in case this guy throws one off the table, I can catch it in the air and then put it in my mouth and then turn back around and have my girlfriend hit me in the back, and I'm going to spit it out on the table. So keep in mind, there's a lot of cocktails involved with this story.
Oh, there has to be, because otherwise that's just dumb.
I don't think you're going to be
if
happy.
you're drunk,
Yeah.
I like it. Like, okay, man, yeah.
So I'm thinking this is going to be fun. So anyway, we're playing, and the dice go around 2 or 3 times, and now it's back to this guy, and he's doing his thing, and he throws them, and they pop up, and one of the die land right in my girlfriend's cleavage. And she's about 4'8", but she's very busty. And she normally at work dresses very conservatively, but when she goes out, she wears some low.
Obviously, if the dice went into our cleavage, we can do the math on that one.
Yeah. So the croupier takes the stick to point. I go, no. So I hit her in the back, and she has this great way of just, I guess, flexing, and the dice rolls out right onto the table, and the whole table applause and great deal. So end of night, we're walking out the door, and security stops me at the exit, and he says, "Sir, can you hold on for a second?" And I'm thinking, well, okay, what's going on? So then a manager comes over, and he says, "I understand that something happened with you tonight at the dice table. Are you guys okay?" And yeah, we're fine, no big deal. And he said, "Well, hold on for another quick second." So now another lady comes over, and she says, "I understand that one of the dice ended up in your cleavage, ma'am." And she says, "Oh, yeah, it did." And we're both, again, a lot of cocktails. And she said, "Well, we have that on video." Okay. "Would you mind if we used it for promotional purposes?" "And we'll give you $5,000 right now if you release the rights."
Wow.
So sure enough, so we walked over behind the cage, signed a waiver. They gave us $5,000 on the spot, and we walked out there with $5,000 for her catching a dice in her boob.
That is a great story. On your birthday.
Those are some great boobs. Did you ever see the promotional video or the commercial they put together with it?
No. A few years later, I saw a dice in cleavage, but I can tell you from experience it wasn't hers.
All right.
Yeah, but she inspired it.
Are you still with the same big-breasted girlfriend?
I'm not, and I miss her.
Do you still think about her?
Well, especially this week, because my birthday is coming up, and no one's taking me to Reno.
Okay, all right, yeah. And those big boobs.
I mean, it's because it's Reno.
I'm not. Yeah, it's like finding a guy with a big penis. You know what I mean? You might get 1 or 2 in your lifetime, but the majority of them are just, you know what I mean? Just ugly and wrinkly and everything else. But if you get a girl with nice boobs, you always remember that. Like, wow.
I wish that would happen.
You know, whatever it is.
I'm going to tell my wife next time we go to Vegas, put on that low-ass top you wore on our first date. Because, I mean, it was like her boobs were like in 3D at an IMAX theater, right? I mean, you want me to see these.
What was the nickname again?
Booberella.
Booberella.
Yeah, man. She got a whole deck of cards in there.
Mine was T. McGee.
Yeah. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
Hey, how are you guys doing today? Good?
Yeah, we're doing great, man. Thank you, brother.
Excellent. That's what I wanted to hear. So my story starts out as the first paying gig I got as a music photographer was to do David Bowie concert at Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen.
That's a pretty cool gig.
So the night before I did the show, I went down and they have like an underground casino, and I mean it's like a city inside the city. So I was walking around, and I'm not much of a gambler, but I thought, they had this wheel with all the flags of the world, and so I put down a handful of tokens I had on the American flag, and they spun the wheel and went round and round and round and round, and it hit for $10,000.
Oh,
my payoff,
man! And you get to see David Bowie.
And I got to do David Bowie show. That was my first paying gig.
Damn, that's a good weekend right there.
But it's all downhill from there. Would be my my first paying gig is David Bowie in Copenhagen.
Mm-hmm.
My next gig is like the local band playing in someone's backyard, in Birmingham or so.
I saw David Bowie in concert. This is probably 88, 89, and he comes out and walks on stage. He goes, "Guys, I'm just going to play hits tonight, if that's okay." Everybody's like, 2.5 hours later, you're like song after song after song after song. You're like, this. It was just.
You got a lot of hits.
It was amazing. Right. You had like Robert Fripp on guitar, somebody like that. I can't remember. Adrian Blue. It was.
What's there like the one nerdy guy that was like, he didn't play my song?
Right, exactly. Where's Moon Age Daydream?
I came here for the deep cuts.
What has been the luckiest or unluckiest moment of your life? 206-421-ROCK.